Hi, we're here at Gear for Music up in York, and we've got the brand new Novation Bass Station 2 synth. So we'll just have a quick look through some of the features that we've got on the synth. The Bass Station is effectively a reissue of the original Bass Station, which is now 20 years old. And we've taken that idea and brought this now into the 21st century. And by that, we've got a fully analog signal path. So we have analog oscillators, filter and effects, but it's a digitally controlled synth. So that allows us to do things, for example, like store our patches into the synth for instant recall. We can also control the parameters of the synth using our software as well. And each of the encoders on the top of the synth will also put out CC message, so we can actually use it as a controller keyboard alongside being a really rich sounding analog synth. So if we have a look at what we've actually got on the synth itself, well, it's a dual oscillator synth. So we have Oscillator 1 and Oscillator 2. We also have a sub-oscillator on here which will allow us to either have an octave below Oscillator 1 or 2 octaves below. This is a single oscillator providing us with a sawtooth waveform. And if we use the volume control on the sub-oscillator, we can bring this in. On the oscillators, we have 4 different oscillator types. So this is a sawtooth. We also have a pulse width oscillator as well, which we can use as a square wave, or actually vary the pulse width. We can also modulate the pulse width as well. We can do this in 3 ways, either individually or all together. We have pulse width control with our manual encoder here. We can also apply a low frequency oscillation, LFO2, to the pulse width. So if we switch over here and bring in an amount of that. We also can use the modulation envelope to control pulse width as well. Alongside the pulse width oscillator, we have a sine wave and a triangle as well. We have an octave coarse control either way, so an octave up and an octave down. And we also have fine control over that, which gives us a semitone either way. We have a range which can select the octave in which the oscillator is working. And also we can modulate the oscillator, again either using an LFO or using our modulation envelope. We can set an LFO depth here. One of the interesting things about the LFOs that we have are that we can actually close them completely off, so they're not actually oscillating at this point, or we can actually use the speed control to go right into the audio range. So this can get some quite crazy effects. On the low frequency oscillators, we have 4 different waveforms again. So we have a triangle wave here. We have sawtooth. We also have a square wave. And we have sample and hold as well. With the LFOs, we can actually do quite a clever thing where we can round off the corners of the LFO. This is called LFO slew. Obviously on the top panel here we've got a lot of control for the synth engine, but also along the keys here we also have additional controls, including the LFO slew. To access this, I just simply press the function button and then the LFO that I want to control, in this instance LFO1. And now if we... Now I can apply a value to this, and this will round off the corners. that to sharpen up the corners again. So it's a nice way of being able to add additional control to your low frequency oscillation. If we go back to an initialized patch, so this is again just oscillator 1 playing a sawtooth. We'll just turn this down now, and we have another control here which allows me to control the volume of a noise generator. So that's a white noise generator. But in addition, we have a ring modulation that we can use, and this will effectively give us ring modulation between the two oscillations. So we can get some really nice effects from that. And in addition to ring modulation and noise, we also have an external input which allows us to feed any external signal we want through both the filter section and the effects section on the synth as well. You can get some really nice crazy modulation effects, tremolo effects and filter effects for things like, for example, guitars and vocals and any samples that we might want to fire through as well. So next to the mixer we have our filter section as well, and the base station has two different filters that we can use one at a time. We have the original classic mode, which is based on the original base station filter, so this gives us a nice wide opening there. And we also have an acid filter, which is a diode ladder filter, again, which is kind of modeled to give us some nice sort of squelchy sounding things as well. It's a bit like a sort of a Roland TB-303 sound. So I'll just get to a preset here that we can have a listen. With the filter as well, we also have an overdrive which will feed directly into the filter. So this is good for just warming up the sound. And in addition to the overdrive, we also have a distortion circuit as well. And we can modulate the filter either via LFO2 or again through the modulation envelope. So I'll apply some. Alongside the filter, we have two effects. As I mentioned, we've got the distortion, which we can obviously use to add harmonics and distort the sound. We can get some really gnarly, gritty sounds from this. But in addition, we've also got FM modulation effectively by using the oscillator filter modulation control here, which will let oscillator 2 then control the filter frequency. So. So if we go to oscillator 2, get some really nice, nasty effects with that. On the envelope section, we have two envelopes. We have our amplifier envelope and the modulation envelope as well. And again, we can shape the sound using this. So we have three different settings on here. So this is the amp envelope. And then the modulation envelope, which we can then apply to things like the filter, to the oscillators as well, and also to pulse width. The LFO section, as we discussed earlier, has got four different waveforms. We have two LFOs, and with these we can use LFO1 to control the oscillator. We can use LFO2 again to control pulse width, and also the filter frequency. We also have a delay, which allows us to set basically a delay as it's opening up the LFO. So we'll just bring some of this in. So we'll put the delay on full. And we can hear that starting to open it up. We'll bring some more speed on there. We also have portamento control, and also a really strong arpeggiator and sequencer. So if I just go up to a different patch here, so with the arpeggio, I can just use either the up function, I can latch this on, I can use the down function, we can go up and down, but repeating the first and the last notes. We also have a played mode, so I can actually play in the notes in which the order I want them to be repeated. So. But in addition to the arpeggiator modes, we also have 4 slots that we can store in our own 32-step sequences. To record a sequence is really straightforward. We just go to the record mode. These two lights are flashing now to tell us that we're actually recording, and now I can just play in some steps, and then go to play mode, and now so in addition to the arpeggiator and the step sequencer, we also have different rhythms that we can apply to these sequences. We have a rhythm control here, and we have 32 different rhythms that we can play with. So if we just bring it down to number 1, this is just going to give us quarter notes. If I increase the value here, we get a different rhythm. And when we go to 32, effectively we're getting 16 steps now, or 16ths or semi-quaver notes. So as I mentioned, we've got a lot of control for the actual synth engine up on the top panel here, but also we have a number of different controls as functions on the keyboard as well. For example, if we want to assign maybe filter frequency to aftertouch on the keyboard, we can do that easily enough by pressing the function button, pressing the appropriate key on the keyboard, and then applying a value. So if I just increase this now, and I can also do things like apply LFO speed to aftertouch as well. This is for LFO2. So we'll increase the speed there. So. And we can do a whole, well, we can also use aftertouch to control LFO1 to the oscillator pitch as well. So we'll just add some of that to it. So we get a lot of control just from the keyboard itself. I should mention that the keyboard is a specially designed, individually sprung keyboard mechanism to give it a nice old school synth feel. Other functions that we have on the actual keyboard control side of things are things like oscillator sync, where we can sync the two oscillators together, where oscillator 1 is the master and oscillator 2 is the slave. Again, to turn this on, we press the oscillator sync button, turn that on, and now we can use oscillator 2 to give us more shape on the sound. And again, we can so the hard sync there is another great feature. Again, along the keys here, we have things like, for example, on the arpeggio, we can apply swing. So there we have it. It's a really versatile sounding synth. Let's have a listen to some of the presets that we've got in there. Oh, I should say as well that we're going to have 64 presets built into the base station when it comes through. And there'll be another 64 slots for you to save and store your own sounds in there. And let's just go back and have a listen to some of the sounds that we've got. So there's a good look at some of the new features on the Base Station 2 analog synth from Novation. If you're wanting more information, have a look at the gearformusic.com website, and also there's more information on novationmusic.com as well. Thanks very much for watching.